What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers, and this is my UFC Vegas 101 post weigh-in final thoughts for Amanda Ribas going against Mackenzie Dern. And yeah, first live stream, well, second live stream, we had Stat Diggers, but of 2025, and looking forward to kicking off the year right with a pretty good card here. 14 fights on the card. We had 2 weight misses, but looks like all fights are staying on. We did have a couple short notice replacements stepping in. We got Joe Selecki stepping in on short notice. We got Jacoby Smith stepping in on short notice as well. But yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty solid card, and I'm looking forward to it. Next week, we have UFC 311, which is a very good card as well. So yeah, kicking off the year with kind of a bang here. I think 2 solid cards to get us started. So yeah, before we get into it, if you guys could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you guys are watching on the replay, leave me a comment. All 3 of those things go a very long way. Be on the lookout for Best Bet tomorrow. Going to be going live at 2 hours prior to the prelims. And yeah, so right back into it. We got my guy Uncle Weezy in the building saying, "Oi, yes, what is up, Uncle Weezy? Hopefully you are feeling better. I'm sick as well. I don't know what I have, dude. My chest is killing me. Have a really bad cough. I need to move. Like, I think it's like an Ohio thing. Like, it's always cold. It's gross here. I need to get out of Ohio quickly. I'm sick every other week. I'm getting pretty tired of it. But hopefully you're feeling better, Uncle Weezy. We got William in the building. Let's get this money. Let's get it. Jeff saying, "Oi, indeed." We get Real 5 Picks saying, "Yes, yes." Samuel saying, "What's up, Brady? Glad to see your Friday live streams again. I hope we can all make money this week, and that is the goal." Have a couple plays thus far. Beat some line movement on one play, which is nice. And yeah, looking at a couple different things on this card, a couple spots sticking out. We got Patrick. Happy Friday. Brady, happy Friday to you as well. Everybody's sick. It's that time of the year. Yep, it is that time of the year. My whole family is pretty much sick right now. It sucks. I hate it. And yeah, I did do really well last time I was 6. I think that was the Vicente Luque card. So maybe it's a good thing. But I don't think I'm going to have that much action on this card. By the way, Brady, I'm glad you recovered from pneumonia. Yeah, it took me a very long time to. I think that lasted like almost 3 weeks. It was pretty bad. But yeah, I was able to recover, and I feel better now in terms of pneumonia. But now I got something else going on. So it's sickening. We got Justy Q. Happy New Year, fellas. Happy New Year's to you as well. Feels like 27 degrees in Austin, Texas. It does. Jeez. That's not great. Yeah, it's around there here as well. So, gee, I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, guys, we got a lot to get into. UFC Vegas 101, 14 fights. I say we get right into it and talk some fights here. All right, we're going to kick it off with Nurilo Aliev going against Joe Selecki. And we have Nurilo Aliev is a big favorite sitting at minus 700. Joe Selecki sitting at plus 500. And money has continued to kind of pour in on Aliev throughout the week. Selecki is stepping in on short notice, and Aliev opened up minus 350. He's currently minus 700. And yeah, I think it's a very easy fight to break down here in a sense that I feel like there's pretty much 2 outcomes. The most likely outcome is Aliev and Aliev by decision. I don't think this guy's finishing anybody in the UFC. His game plan in all of his fights is to kind of get takedowns, get control time, land some ground and pound here and there, but that's about it. And then if Joe Selecki is winning this fight, I feel like it's submission or bust. I'd be shocked if Joe Selecki won a decision. I really don't think that's on the table. Joe Selecki's not knocking out anybody. So for me, there was a prop that certainly stuck out, and that's Joe Selecki by submission. It was plus 1,500 where I got it. It's actually now plus 1,600. So I sprinkled that for a quarter unit. Like I said, I do think it's probably Aliev by decision, but Aliev by decision's anywhere from minus 215 to, I kid you not, minus 300, which I don't recall really ever seeing a decision prop at minus 300. But yeah, minus 300 there, I see. Yeah, I think that sub prop for Selecki, like that's his money line, and he's going to attempt submissions. He's going to be off his back here, and that's what he does. He's kind of content to be on his back, throw up submissions. He is going to be the better BJJ guy in this matchup. So yeah, Aliev's going to try to wrestle here for 15. Selecki's going to try to throw up some submissions, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Selecki by sub, I think, is a long shot that certainly has some opportunities. I wouldn't be shocked if Joe Selecki tried 2-3 submission attempts at the end of the day, and at plus 1,500, I think it's worth a little sprinkle there. We got Lou Betcha in the building. What is up, Mr. Lou Betcha? Hopefully you're doing well. We got Remdox up, Brady. Hope you had a good break. Yeah, decent break. It kind of flew by for me personally, but That was a solid break, and I'm looking forward to going kind of hard in 2025. We got Patrick catching you live for the first time. Happy 2025. What's your thoughts on Fatima by sub? Yeah, we'll talk about that fight next, actually, and I do have just some thoughts on that fight. So like he used to be kind of good. Yeah, he's the guy that never really impressed me. Like he's kind of matchup dependent. Like if he's gonna go out there and get like that Carl Deaton guy, yeah, he's gonna go out there and submit like Carl Deaton the third. It all depends on the matchups. Like I think his grappling's next level, but when you can get a guy that can kind of stuff takedowns, be the better striker, he's gonna lose that fight a lot. And he's a big dog here. He's a very big dog here. Wow, that's crazy odds. Good bet. Yeah, I feel like that's literally his money line. I really don't see any other way Joe Solecki wins the fight. Minus 300 is nuts. He could get a KO. Yeah, could get maybe like a ground and pound late. Joe Solecki, not the most durable fighters. I could maybe see that. But this guy, Aliev, it just doesn't seem like he has any interest to finish anybody. How did you feel about Penn State losing last night, Brady? Yeah, I watched a good chunk of that game. Just a frustrating game. Frustrating game from the jump. It was a frustrating game. So not too hurt about it, but yeah, I mean, they very easily could have won. A couple mistakes here and there. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We got Fatima Klein going against Victoria Dudakova. We have Klein as the biggest favorite on the entire card. She's sitting at minus 925. Victoria Dudakova sitting at plus 625. Which, yeah, these odds are certainly wide, but I think that just goes to show you what people think of Fatima Klein, and I think it goes to show you what people think of Victoria Dudakova nowadays. Because I kind of, there's some kind of a little bit of hype on Dudakova. Like she was an undefeated prospect coming into the UFC. I thought she was decent. I thought she might have some upside, but all that got thrown out of the window in that Jinyu Fry fight. I'm like, what are you doing, Victoria Dudakova? How is Jinyu Fry out grappling you? How is this a close fight? 39-year-old atomweight Jinyu Fry. How are you struggling with her? And then the next fight against Sam Hughes, like she's completely gassed out in the second round, looking up at the clock. It's just I lost all hope for Victoria Dudakova, and now she's getting her toughest matchup by a country mile here in Fatima Klein. So yeah, Klein, she's a big favorite for a reason. In terms of anything from a betting perspective here, I don't know. I haven't pulled the trigger on anything yet, but I think a Klein late finish could potentially be in play. Maybe a late sub, maybe even a late TKO. Not really something I'm running to the window for. I don't really want to run to the window for like a strawweight finish, but yeah, Dudakova, I don't think she has the best gas tank. I don't think she has the best grappling. So maybe a Klein, like a third round finish could be something to look at, but not sure I'll quite get there. But yeah, Klein should win. She's minus 1,000, and I think she is the real deal. And I think Dudakova is kind of a busted prospect. Am I excited for the Buckeyes game? Yes, absolutely excited for the Buckeyes game. Now, the Buckeyes, they should go out there and handle business tonight and against Notre Dame. But we'll see. We'll see. Ohio State's lost some questionable. I mean, that Michigan game was questionable. So you never know. But yeah, they should rule here. We got Andrew Nance. Let's go. Let's get it. Marvin saying no women should be minus 800 unless your name is Amanda Nunes or Valentina Shevchenko. That underdog has value. Maybe. I mean, I don't know how Dudakova wins this fight personally, but I agree. Like these odds shouldn't be that wide, but at the end of the day, I just don't see Dudakova winning is my thing. Jinyu Fry would outgrapple you too if you had staff on your ass. Yeah. Dudakova, I think she's had staff her last two fights. I don't know if she's showing up with staff in this fight, but yeah, her last two fights, she said she had staff in the Fry fight. She had staff in the Hughes fight. So hopefully she kind of figured that out because staff on the ass it's not great. It's not great. I mean, I wouldn't know, but I would assume it's not great. Yeah. Sup, gentlemen. What is up, Glenbach? Good to see you in here. All right, let's keep moving on to the next fight. We got, in my opinion, just the worst fight on the card. It is Magomed Gadzhiyasulov going against Bruno Lopez. This fight's kind of sickening, man. I mean, I saw the line on Gadzhiyasulov, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Gadzhiyasulov minus 260. And I wanted a reason to bet Bruno Lopez, and I'm watching Bruno Lopez, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. What is this guy doing? I mean, Bruno Lopez, man. I mean, I think he's very hittable. I think Gadzhiyasulov should have the better striking here. I think Lopez is a bit chinny as well. I've seen him dropped in a ton of fights. I don't know. I mean, it's probably a dog or pass in a sense that you just can't lay minus 260 on Gadzhiyasulov, in my opinion. I don't think he's that great. I mean, I haven't been impressed with any of his performances. The Jose Medina fight, like that was an awful look. Jose Medina got a contract off of that fight. The Ribeiro fight, that was an awful look. I mean, that fight was competitive for a good portion of it. But I'm looking at Bruno Lopez, and it's like I just don't see it with this guy either. So it's a big giant pass for me. What I did like, and it got completely obliterated, was like the over 1.5 earlier in the week was somewhat playable. I want to say it opened at closer to like even money, but it got completely smashed and even taken off. And now it's set at 2.5, and now the 2.5's getting smashed to the over. The fight goes to decisions getting hit as well. But yeah, I would lean towards this fight going to decision, but I didn't bet it because I think Lopez is kind of chinny. I've seen him drop just way too much. So yeah, this fight's disgusting. I will not be betting this fight. I have no interest in betting this fight, but the pick is Gadzhiyasulov. I just can't lay minus 260 on the dude. Lopez is a bum. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too impressed with the guy, man. I wasn't too impressed. Snow day, let's go. Yeah, we're supposed to get a ton of snow here. I think tonight it's gonna be bad. But yeah, it's been snowing the last couple weeks. This card is underrated. It's full of bangers. Agreed. I think there's a lot of fun fights on this card. Hold your worst fight of the night. Call Trey Ogden. Yeah, if Trey Ogden wins the fight, it will be the worst fight on the card. That is absolutely true. I bet Gadzhi by decision plus 225. That's a good look. I think that's much better than the minus 260 because I don't think Gadzhiyasulov's finishing anybody. I do think he can maybe like drop Lopez because I think Lopez is a little bit chinny. But yeah, probably Gadzhiyasulov by decision. Oh, maybe like a round 3 decision, Remdog. Could maybe see that. Robbing Lubech's angle, dog a decision against undefeated fighters, Lopez by decision. And I could see that as well. I could see this fight going to this. I think this fight does go to decision. I think it is going to be greasy. And Lopez by decision is like plus, I think I saw like plus 700 even, but I can't put any money on this fight. I just don't want to. I don't want to bet on either of these guys. It's quite disgusting. So yeah, nothing for me on this one. Moving on. We have Ernesta Kareckaite going against Nicole Caliari. We have Ernesta is sitting as a minus 260 favorite. Same line as the last fight. We got Ernesta minus 260, Caliari plus 220. Interesting fight here. I just don't understand why Ernesta's this big of a favorite. I really don't, because she has holes in her game. The first hole she has is she's very, very hittable. The second hole she has is she has just no takedown defense whatsoever. And with Nicole Caliari, it's like there's still a lot of unknowns for her, at least in my eyes, because you go and watch tape on Caliari and there's not a ton of footage available. You know, you go and watch fights on her and you're watching fights from like 5-6 years ago, like the Kay Hansen fight was back in 2019 and she gets submitted in the third round. And that's kind of the one thing I was worried about in her Contender Series fight, because you go and watch her older fights and she's getting taken down, she's getting controlled, she's getting subbed. But I think she's really worked on that area of her game these last several years. You see her on her Instagram, she's doing a lot of grappling, and she went out there and got a submission win on the Contender Series. So in this fight, it's like, I think Caliari striking solid. She throws with a ton of power. Obviously, you got to favor Ernesta with the insane amount of volume she has, but Ernesta can be hit very cleanly. I mean, I think her striking defense has to be like 40-some percent. Let's see. Yeah, 43% striking defense for Ernesta Kareckaite. It's not great. And then, like I said, I think that Caliari can get takedowns as well. The one worry for me, the one thing kind of holding me back would be the cardio of Caliari. We just don't have really much information on it. The last time I saw her in a third round was 5-6 years ago against Kay Hansen. But if her cardio can hold up, I think this can end up being a pretty close fight. So I think it's absolutely a dog or pass. Just in general, like you shouldn't be laying minus 260 here on Ernesta, in my opinion. So Caliari, I would be looking at maybe the money line of plus 220. Haven't pulled the trigger yet, but that's something I might get to as an underdog bet. What are you guys liking in this fight here? Caliari could get a positional KO if she gets on top. She might go full rabies. Yeah, and she's a finisher as well. She has a 100% finish rate, which is not that common in the flyweight division. So, yeah, could potentially see a finish. I could see her winning really by any method. Could be a sub, Could be, like you said, a TKO. Even on the feet, she throws bombs. And then I could also see like a close decision. I'm kind of leaning towards the decision, but yeah, I think Caliari is a very, very live dog here. Hey, Caliari looks jacked. Hey, yeah, she looks very jacked. She seems to be putting in a lot of work in the gym. That is absolutely for sure. So yeah, probably going to get to a Caliari bet. And if I do, it's going to be small. It's going to be a half unit just because I think there's so many unknowns. But when there's this many unknowns, you typically want to be on the dog money. What do you think about the Caliari plus 3.5 as a parlay piece? I like it. The one worry would be, though, like if she does gas out, like maybe Ernesta gets a late finish, but I kind of doubt that. And yeah, she should be able to win a round. She should be able to win a round. And I think I saw like minus 145, actually, which is not bad. And would you use Caliari on DraftKings? Yes. So Caliari is 7,000. You're getting a 7,000 fighter with wrestling, grappling upside, with a 100% finish rate against somebody with no takedown defense. I think it's worth a shot for sure. So yeah, I like Caliari on DraftKings. I like this fight in general on DraftKings because if Ernesta wins, her volume is some of the best on the entire card, to be honest. So really good fight for DraftKings there. All right. Moving on to the next fight, we got Jacoby Smith going against Preston Parsons. Nothing but love on Jacoby Smith since this line opened. Jacoby Smith opened up minus 210. It's gotten hammered. One-way traffic in favor of Smith. Now minus 600 favorite. Preston Parsons opened up plus 180. He's currently a plus 425 underdog. And yeah, it's a lot of juice to be laying on Smith here. And I like Smith. He's one of my favorite prospects coming out of Contender Series of last year. But at the end of the day, this guy is coming in here on short notice. But yeah, I think it's a great matchup for him. Like, I think that Parsons, you're looking at Parsons, like in all of his fights, he's looking to get the fight down to the ground. I don't think that's going to be on the table here. I think that Smith is going to be able to dictate where the fight takes place. On the feet, Parsons is a punching bag. And on the ground, we haven't really seen Parsons on the ground that much outside of like the Giles fight. And yeah, if Jacoby Smith gets on top, he has some solid grounded pound there. So yeah, I think Smith wins. I just have no interest in laying the minus 600, and no props are really sticking out either. I think Smith is live for a knockout, but the knockout prop is, I think, minus money. Don't love that. So yeah, probably just going to end up sitting back and watching this one. We talked about DraftKings a little bit. I think Smith on DraftKings makes a ton of sense. Wrestling upside. And this guy throws bombs, whether he's on the mat or whether he's on the feet. This guy's a ton of power. So yeah, I like Smith here, but I'd be wary of a minus 600 price tag. I wouldn't mind parlaying him at like minus 300 earlier in the week, but at minus 600, it's like, I think a lot can go wrong with a guy making his debut on short notice, Contender Series guy. So, but yeah, Smith should get it done. Nicole beat a Canadian on the Contender Series, so the win is void to me, and I'm Canadian. Yeah, Canadians did not have a great run on the Contender Series last year. And wasn't one of those Canadians like a minus like 1,500 favorite as well? Oh, it was bad. It was very bad. Debutante plus people underrate Preston's durability. Smith by decision. Yeah, this seems to be a pretty popular play this week, Smith by decision. And yeah, Parsons is durable. He can take a shot. So I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. He very well could potentially knock him out. If it does go to decision, though, I think it's going to be one of those fights where he just bashes his head in. People are screaming, "Stop the fight, Jason Herzog! Stop the fight, Jason Herzog!" And then Herzog bet the over, so the fight's going over and just somehow goes over and goes to decision. I could see that. I could see Smith just beating the crap out of Parsons. Parsons' face just completely busted up, and Herzog's refusing to stop the fight like he typically does. So I could see that. But I think it would be a huge sweat with the way this guy hits, the way this guy throws ground and pound. But yeah, it could happen. It can certainly happen. All right. Moving on to the next fight. It is Thiago Moises going against Trey Ogden. And we have Thiago Moises is a minus 180 favorite. Trey Ogden is plus 155. Actually, no. Looks like money just came in on Ogden. So Moises is now minus 170, and Ogden is plus 145. So I figured, Ogden would be somewhat of a popular dog just because he has been looking a lot better. Ogden's a guy that I've always kind of struggled with getting a read on. And because, I don't know, he's like inconsistent. Like, how are you about to lose a striking fight to Jordan Levitt? And then how are you about to win a striking fight with Zellhuber? How are you about to go in there against Ignacio Bahamondes and just do nothing? Borderline just quit in that fight and not even try. And then there's other fights where he looks very good. The Kurt Holloway fight, great game planning, getting takedowns, getting control. The Rajabov fight, getting takedowns, getting control. But in this match, I just think it's kind of a tricky one here because Ogden, he's going to want to get the fight down to the mat, I think. And he even talked about how he's going to be getting the fight down to the mat. And if he does that, like Moises, his base is that BJJ black belt. I mean, that guy, Moises, is a very, very good grappler. Ogden's a black belt as well, but Moises is a much higher, much more dangerous grappler. And Ogden's been submitted 3 times. So I kind of think Moises' sub is pretty live here. It's plus 575. Whether he's on bottom, we've seen Thomas Gifford submit Trey Ogden twice. And if Moises can even get on top in his own right, take the back, like we could see Moises getting a sub there as well. So I think Moises by sub at a big number, plus 575, makes a lot of sense. If Ogden's winning this fight, if he's winning it by decision, Ogden just seems like he's not capable of finishing anybody in the UFC. So if you like Ogden by decision is probably the way to go. But I'm kind of looking at that Moises sub. Moises sub plus 575 makes some sense to me. What is the Ogden by decision? Probably not that much better than plus 260. Yeah, I don't see him finishing Moises. What do they have the finish only? Oh gosh. Yeah, the finish only for Moises minus 240. Yeah, makes sense though. And then, like I said, Moises by submission for me is probably going to be a tracked bet, maybe a half unit, something like that. We got Call Me Husker. Oi, let's cash in the first event of 2025. Let's do it. Sweet Pea, Grable. Like many others, Ogden changed physicality as a fighter. You can throw out his earlier fights. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's the physicality or just like the game planning seems to be a lot better. Like there's no excuse for that Ignacio Bahamondes fight. Like there's no excuse to lose a striking fight to Jordan Levitt. Like there's no excuses for that. But nowadays, I think he's making a lot better decisions in there. And he's looking a lot better. His last 3 fights, even the Moda fight, that was a no contest. He looked incredible in that fight. So yeah, Ogden seems to be really putting it together. And maybe to your point, taking the strength and conditioning a little bit more serious and stuff. So yeah, Ogden's been looking good. Yeah, right. I know. Like this guy's not finishing anybody. Although he did finish Moda. The ref just, I mean, who was that ref that screwed it up? Probably, Mike Beltran. Beltron's typically good. But yeah, he probably did finish or was on his way to finishing Moda. But other than that, yeah, this guy's not finishing anybody, I wouldn't think. Ogden points, great price. Agreed, plus 260. It's not bad. Not bad. All right, let's move on to this next fight. We got Marco Tulio going against Ihor Potieria. We got Marco Tulio as a big, giant favorite here, minus 450. Ihor Potieria, plus 350. And nothing sticking out here. So it's just a wide line. Like Potieria is a guy that I've kind of changed my tone on a little bit. I thought this guy was a complete fraud, like a complete phony. And now I changed my tone, and I still think he's a fraud, but he's not a complete fraud. Like he's still losing fights, but he's having moments in there. He's hanging in there. He went 15 minutes with Cesar Almeida, arguably beat Rodolfo Bellato if the ref had stopped the fight. So yeah, he's going in there and he's not looking great, but he's looking a lot better than I kind of expected. And I didn't really expect to see him in the UFC 7 fights in. I kind of thought it was going to be like a 3-fight and done type situation for Ihor, but this is going to be, I think, his 8th fight. So credit to him, hanging in there, losing a lot of fights, but hanging in there, still fighting in the UFC. But geez, they're not doing him any favors in general, and they're especially not doing him any favors in this fight. Marco Tulio Silva, he's not gonna, blow your socks off, but I mean, he's a good fighter. He has ways to win minutes here in this fight. He can win minutes against the cage. He can get takedowns. I think he's the better grappler. The cardio seems to check out. The striking's very good as well. Kind of a slow starter, but once he gets going, he gets going. And yeah, I think Tulio wins this fight. I'd be fairly surprised if Ihor won. If Ihor won, it'd probably be like some type of knockout, but yeah, should be Tulio. And the question to me becomes like, how does he win the fight? Does he win it? Because I could see any method. Like Tulio has some underrated grappling. I kind of expected him to go to that grappling in his second Contender Series fight because the dude who was fighting, I just had a feeling he had no idea what to do on the mat. He didn't go to that. He still got the win, but didn't go to that. But yeah, I think if he can get Ihor down, maybe the sub could be live. But we've seen Ihor knocked out multiple times, so the knockout could be live. Or maybe this drags out to decision. We've seen Ihor go to decisions in a couple fights that we didn't really expect to. The Brechek fight, that fight doesn't go to decision, was like minus 1,000. So yeah, I could see any method here for Tulio. And when that's the case, just kind of want to stick away or stay away. And even as like a parlay piece, it is kind of wide, but we'll see. And yet Ihor didn't make weight, which is interesting because this guy, cut down a weight class, and I expected him to maybe have some struggles early on, but I think he made weight twice in a row. But yeah, this is the first time he did actually miss weight, I believe, unless he missed weight last time. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is the first time I think he missed weight. But yeah, it doesn't really change my view on the fight, really. Ihor gets fouled a lot for some reason, and the refs never take a point. The refs never take a point in general. I can't remember the last time a ref took a point in a UFC fight. I remember that there were a lot of points taken, I think, in Contender Series, but in the UFC, I can't remember the last time somebody took a point. I don't know. I've seen a lot of stern warning. We get a lot of stern warnings out there, but just not a lot of point taken. So we'll see. Okay, he missed weight on his last win, which that would be the Brechek fight. Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, the weight miss doesn't really affect me too much. I think this may be the last fight on his contract. Yeah, I could see that. What is he? He's 1-4 in his last 5. So I could see that. And like I said, the UFC is doing him absolutely no favors here. This is not an easy matchup. This is not an easy matchup for Potieria whatsoever. All right. So yeah, nothing. I hate that fight from a betting perspective. Jose Johnson, Felipe Bunes. This is a fight that I do like. We have another weight misser, and it's Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson misses weight, which it should not shock anybody. I was actually kind of waiting for him to miss weight because this is a guy that is 6 foot in the flyweight division. It just makes absolutely no sense. So he showed up, he missed weight, and yeah, good for him because that weight miss probably doesn't hurt him here in this matchup. So the thing with Jose Johnson is I've always been a big fan of this guy. I don't think he's the best fighter in the world. I don't think he's going to make a run or nothing like that. But in terms of pure excitement, I like these exciting fighters. I like these killer be killed fighters. And you go and watch Jose Johnson outside the UFC, and you see a very violent man. Jose Johnson has some of the most brutal knockout wins I've ever seen, which is crazy to say because this guy weighs 125 pounds. He has some of the most brutal knockout wins I've ever seen. I've seen him give guys seizures in there. I've seen him knock guys out and them not wake up for minutes. And you have to bring the stretcher in type thing. So Jose Johnson, his power is absolutely no joke in the flyweight division. The problem is in the UFC, we haven't got to see it. We haven't got to see it at all. And the reason being is because this guy's take the defense is horrible, and guys are constantly taking him down. Asu Almabayev humped his leg for 15 minutes. Chad Henniger was humping his leg. Damon Blackshear humped his leg and got him in a twister. Jack Cartwright on the Contender Series humped his leg. We saw Ronnie Lawrence hump his leg. Everybody's humping this guy's leg. But and I think Bunes is probably going to hump his leg. I just don't think Bunes has the cardio to go out there and hump this guy for 15 minutes. I don't know if you guys have humped much in your past, but humping, it does require a lot of cardio. And a guy like Asu Almabayev, this guy can hump for 15 minutes. Jack Cartwright, he can hump for 15 minutes. Ronnie Lawrence, this guy can hump all day. But Felipe Bunes, I worry that he's not going to be able to hump for about 7.5 minutes. I don't think he has great cardio. He's getting up there in age for the flyweight division. Like, this is a guy that's 35 years old. So how I'm kind of seeing this fight play out is I think Bunes is in a little bit of trouble here because if he goes out there and decides to strike and swing dicks with Jose Johnson, he's probably getting knocked out brutally. And if he goes out there and decides to do what everybody else does and take this guy down, he will have success. He will have success early. But as the fight goes on, will he be able to carry that success into the second, into the third round? And I'm just not convinced he will. So what I like here because I like violence. I like the fight doesn't go to decision around -105. And you take a look at it here, you see the finish rates between the two flyweights. We have Jose Johnson with a 69% finish rate, half those coming by knockout. And then we have Felipe Bunes with a 77% finish rate, over half of those coming by submission. We have Jose Johnson. He's actually been finished 5 times, 4 by submission. So I think Felipe Bunes' path to victory would be an early submission. And then as far as Felipe Bunes, this guy's been knocked out before. He's also been subbed twice. So we're getting a fight where both guys are dangerous and both guys lack durability and one guy lacks cardio. So I think violence at about a pick 'em, I know it's a flyweight fight, makes a lot of sense to me. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it here. Fight doesn't go -105. Haven't played it yet. I was kind of hoping maybe money would come in on the over, maybe get like a plus money. Fight doesn't go, but it looks like it's kind of hung around that -105, -110 range all week. So we'll see. Best strategy, nut shot, eye poke, open and and grab the cage as well. Grab the cage, grab the shorts. Why not? Just don't bite somebody. Just don't bite somebody. That would be the one thing you really can't do is bite somebody. But yeah, grab the cage, grab the shorts, eye poke, whether you're on the feet, on the ground. And we saw Priscilla Cachoeira with the eye poke on the ground. Tyone did nothing about it. Yeah, cheat. The refs are not doing anything about it. Put 2 units on Johnson, -180, having some buyer's remorse. I mean, like I said, the only thing I'd be worried about would be like an early Bunes finish. If he's not able to get Johnson out of there early, I don't think Bunes has the gas to push a pace for 15. 7.5 minutes is all for, yeah, it's 7.5 minutes I think that's all Bunes has. I've humped, but my lawyer asked me not to speak about. Oh gosh, yeah. Then don't speak about that. Yeah, that is true. If they're not going to do anything about it, why not? So Jose Johnson, he cheated. Jose Johnson's a cheater. He went out there, he missed weight, and what's the penalty? 20% of his purse for a pretty sizable. Like that's an advantage. This guy is 6 foot. Missing weight, yeah. I mean, that's a big advantage for Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson cheated, and there's really no penalty for it outside of like a 20%, which is nothing. I'm not sure Aliev, if he gets one free bite. Oh, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully there's no biting on this card. All right, moving on to the next fight. We have Uros Medic going against Punahele Soriano. We have Uros Medic -220, Punahele Soriano +185. Tricky fight here. Because on the feet, I truly believe it's one-way traffic in favor of Uros Medic. I feel like on the feet, it's really not even close whatsoever. Like even like Soriano was getting pieced up by like Dustin Stoltzfus and some of these other guys. Like on the feet, it's Medic all day. The question then becomes, was Soriano's fight against Miguel Baeza a fluke in a way? Like, was it more so Soriano was all of a sudden this guy that can wrestle hard for 15 minutes, has incredible cardio, conditioning at 170. Did all of a sudden, just overnight, did that change? And does this guy have insane ability to get the fight down to the mat? Or was it because Miguel Baeza probably quit, probably didn't want to be there? Miguel Baeza took a lot of damage. I believe he had battled some injuries. I think he might have even retired or been cut or something. Was it more so like Miguel Baeza not trying in there, just kind of looking for the door, getting taken down, just kind of covering up, that type of thing? I don't know. But yeah, Medic is probably not going to do that. But I don't know. I think it all comes down to whether or not you think that the Soriano performance against Baeza was a fluke, or if this guy actually did turn the corner, if this guy actually did go out there, put in the work, and now all of a sudden he can't wrestle. Because Medic can be taken down. We saw him get taken down like 7-8 times by Oralby. We saw him get taken down twice by Turner and get submitted shortly after. I think Medic's take defense has been suspect. The cardio has been suspect. But I don't know. I'm kind of worried here. I'm kind of worried that we might be overrating Soriano's performance against Baeza a lot. And then I'm kind of worried that you got to worry about these guys and their game plans. Like if you're Soriano, you should absolutely be wrestling here. But my concern is he goes out there and tries to strike with Medic, and that could be a problem. So it's a dog or pass for me. I think Soriano is live, but he's live if he takes the best path, and that best path would be to wrestle and wrestle for 15 minutes or like get a finish on the mat, something like that. But Medic is not going to lay down like Baez did is the kind of problem I'm looking at. So I think I might just pass on this one. Maybe see where the line goes. I mean, so if Soriano gets the plus 200, maybe. It's just, for one, I don't trust him, and for two, I think we might be overhyping the Baeza performance a little bit. But yeah, I would not be laying minus 220 on Medic personally. I love the guy striking, but I've always had question marks about his cardio, about his ground game, and Soriano might be able to test that here. And Soriano at weigh-ins, by the way, looked to be incredible shape once again. So we'll see. But yeah, it's a dog or pass. I like Soriano. Really, I like this fight in general on DraftKings, but Soriano on DraftKings, like this guy put up like 169 on DraftKings in like a 3-round fight his last time. I don't mind Soriano on DraftKings at 7,500. So I think that's might be how I get my exposure to Soriano, just playing him on DraftKings as an underdog. Soriano may be right for this fight. Maybe I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing if he can kind of I don't want to say replicate that performance against Baeza, because that performance really can't be replicated. That was one of the worst beatdowns I think I've ever seen in a fight that went to decision. Like this guy Soriano landed like, I want to say like 300 something total strike. It was something crazy. So he landed 333 total strikes against Miguel Baeza. Who was reffing that fight? Rob Mooney. Rob Mooney. You probably could have stopped that. I mean, there's just no reason to let that go on for 15 minutes. I mean, that was just an absolute beatdown. I was actually quite shocked that Soriano did not get a finish. Two 30-25s on two of the scorecards. So, yeah, we'll see. But it's by decision. That's kind of a hot take, because this guy has a ton of power, and he's never won a decision yet. So, Medic by decision plus 300. But yeah, so like you're saying, like Soriano is a tough dude. It's just this guy Medic hits like a truck. So I don't know. I think I might just be staying away from this one here. All right, moving on to the next fight. It is Austin Bashi going against Christian Rodriguez. We have Austin Bashi minus 270, Christian Rodriguez plus 230. Pretty easy pass here for me. So Bashi is my favorite prospect out of the Contender Series last year, like he is for probably the majority of people. I think this guy is the real deal. I think this guy is going to be the kind of the next big thing. Only 23 years old, striking solid. The wrestling's great. The cardio's great. The grappling's great. This guy's been grappling since he's 8 years old. Black belt, dangerous, has submitted some solid guys actually outside the Contender Series and UFC even. So yeah, I think Bashi's really good, only getting better. The problem is he's going against the prospect killer in Christian Rodriguez. You look at Rodriguez, like he's won this fight already 3 times. We saw him go out there and beat an undefeated Cameron Simon. We saw him go out there and beat an undefeated Raul Rosas Jr. We saw him go out there and beat an undefeated Isaac Dalgarian. And now they're giving him an undefeated Austin Bashi. But what I think the big difference between Bashi and Dalgarian and Raul Rosas Jr. is the cardio. Dalgarian, I think his cardio is probably good. It's just he does not manage his cardio good at all. Was completely done about halfway through that fight. It was just completely death gassed in the third. Raul Rosas Jr., for the most part, doesn't really do a good job at managing his cardio. He had some success early. He slowed down the later the fight went on and had absolutely nothing left, was completely death gassed in the third round. Austin Bashi, although I don't think he's anywhere as good as a wrestler as Dalgarian, Bashi has the much better cardio between the two. Raul Rosas Jr. and Dalgarian there. So I think that, yeah, Bashi should be able to get takedowns. Christian Rodriguez is getting taken down in every single fight. Let's see. So Christian Rodriguez, he got taken down even by Julian Erosa. Dalgarian took him down 7 times. Raul Rosas Jr. took him down 3 times. The guy with the blue hair, Joshua Weems, took him down twice. Jonathan Pierce took him down 6 times. Reyes Cortez took him down twice. So yeah, he's getting taken down in pretty much every fight. I think it'll be no different here. But yeah, like I said, Rodriguez has won this type of fight before. So I'm going Bashi. Bashi probably by decision. I just don't have much interest in laying minus 270 on the guy personally. But what I will say, I love Bashi on DraftKings. Like, this is a guy that could very well go out there and get 10 takedowns in this fight. Has the cardio to do so, like Christian Rodriguez, who can be taken down, but he absolutely can get back up. He's hard to control. So yeah, Bashi could go out there and get like 10 plus takedowns here. I kid you not. And at 8,900, that's why I really like Bashi on DraftKings. I like Bashi, but I had to bet the C-Rod at money line. Yeah, I don't blame anybody taking a shot on the C-Rod money line just on principle. Like Rodriguez has already won this fight 3 times, but I think the cardio is the big difference here for Bashi. I think Bashi has better cardio than the other couple guys that he's beaten. So, but yeah, it's a intriguing line on Rodriguez. It is. I would not be like minus 300 on Bashi, although I'm very, very high on him. Forrest saying I'm high on Bashi and I've been for a minute. I can see him being a parlay piece. What do you think, Brady? Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year to you as well, Forrest. If you're looking for the just win type parlay, I don't mind it, but I just really struggled to get to this line personally. It's a wide line, and I think this fight could end up being close in a sense that Bashi, I think, will get takedowns, but Rodriguez is super hard to control. So I could see it being a little bit closer than this line does indicate. But at the end of the day, I think Bashi gets his hand raised. And we got the DFS Whispers. What's up, Brady? Interesting card ahead. Interesting card indeed. Glad to have UFC back first and foremost. So, yeah, it's a good card. I like this card quite a bit. All right, a couple more fights here, guys. We got Roman Kopilov going against Chris Curtis. We got Kopilov. Where's he sitting at? I think some money came in on, money came in on Curtis. So Kopilov was all the way down to minus 250. He's now at minus 213-ish. And Chris Curtis was all the way up to plus like 212, and he's back to plus 183 now. Some money coming in on Chris Curtis. I don't know what to do with this fight. So I like Kopilov here to win, but there are some arguments to be made with Curtis, and the argument would be like Kopilov. I just think he's the better striker here by a good margin. The only thing that I worry about with Kopilov, and I think that's why some people are on Curtis, is the cardio. Kopilov, he's a weird fighter that he kind of takes a little bit to get going, and he has his best success in the second and third round. But you can see that he's visibly fatigued in that late second round, that third round especially. But he's kind of able to fight through. He's one of those guys where he's tired, but he can kind of fight through it. But yeah, the cardio kind of concerns me. In theory, as this fight goes on, Curtis should be having more and more success. But yeah, Curtis is a slow starter in his own right. So I'm kind of seeing it playing out as, Kopilov probably wins the first round and a half, 2 rounds. Maybe Curtis starts coming on late and Kopilov wins a decision. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. Nothing really sticking out from a betting perspective. I think something interesting. I was looking at like the fight ends at round 2 and round 3 because for Kopilov, that's a prop that I always look at. This guy has, I think, like 11 or 12 knockouts. Only one of those knockout wins come in the first round. He's a 2-3 guy, and Curtis is also a 2-3 guy. So I think the 2-3 props for either guy make a lot of sense. The one thing kind of holding me back from that, though, is these guys and their durability. When I'm looking to bet violence, I look for guys without durability. And these guys have incredible durability. I think 58 fights combined, only 1 knockout loss between the two, which is honestly insane. And the 1 knockout loss for Curtis came in a fight or on a night where he had 2 fights in one night and he got knocked out early on. So yeah, the durability would be kind of the one thing. And I think this fight probably does go 15, but they are going to both try to take off each other's heads. So we'll see. But yeah, Kopilov by decision. No interest in it from a betting perspective. Almeida being this big of a favorite makes 0 sense. Yeah, we'll talk about that fight next. I'm right there with you. I'm not impressed with Cesar Almeida that much at all. Liking Chris Curtis on DraftKings DFS this week. That price is too good. Yeah, for sure. He's 7,100. Has really good volume. It has some maybe some late finish upside. I would much rather play Curtis on DraftKings than Roman Kopilov at 9,100. I don't mind that at all. Right, Kopilov round 2 is a system play, but not here for me. Put the over in a parlay. Yeah, I'm always looking at 2-3 props for Kop. Yeah, really round 2 for the most part. He has to have like 6 or 7 knockouts in round 2, but I respect Curtis's durability too much. All right, moving on to the next fight. It is Cesar Almeida going against Abdulrazak Alhassan. Weird fight here because Almeida is a big favorite. He's minus 250. Alhassan's plus 215. But I can see a couple paths here for all the Alhassan side. First and foremost, Alhassan, this guy hits like a truck, 12 wins, 12 knockouts, and all 12 of those knockouts come in the first 6 minutes, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think he's live to knock anybody out in the first round. Here, though, not really sure for a couple reasons. For one, I think he's going to be at a big striking disadvantage at range. And then for two, Almeida, I think, does have a very good chin on him. I think both guys have really good chins on them. I kind of think this fight can, and it's crazy that I'm saying this because I always bet violent in an Alhassan fight, but I kind of think this fight could maybe go to decision. I think a decision here for either guy is on the table. And if I was Alhassan and I'm watching Ihor Potieria take this guy down. I mean, Ihor Potieria was taking Cesar Almeida down. I couldn't believe my eyes. Prior to that fight, Ihor Potieria had a 0% takedown accuracy. He was going out there taking down Cesar Almeida. And we saw Roman Kopilov. Prior to that fight, he had 0 takedowns landed. And then all of a sudden, this guy is looking like incredible with the wrestling, getting 5 takedowns, getting over 8 minutes of control time. Dylan Buck has taken this. Everybody's taken down Cesar Almeida, even like on the Contender Series. Lucas Fernando taking this guy down multiple times. So if you're Alhassan here, you have shown the ability to go out there and get takedowns, even like late into the fight, like against Buckley. Why not take down Cesar Almeida, hold him against the cage a little bit? Don't just strike with this guy and stand and bang, because if you do that, Almeida probably does look minus 250. But yeah, I think Alhassan has some paths here. And I did take a small shot on Alhassan by decision at plus 1,000. I just think that if this fight goes the distance, like even Ihor Potieria had some moments against Cesar Almeida. Even Ihor Potieria won some minutes with his wrestling. Why can't Alhassan make this like a grindy type fight against the cage, get takedowns? And I think that plus 1,000 is actually interesting. With that said, though, we could see Alhassan go out there, swing his dick, and one of these guys get destroyed in the first round. But I don't know. I kind of think this fight gets extended. What are you guys liking in this fight? Judo Thunder first round knockout. Hey, he has 11 of them. I always look for the Judo Thunder first round knockout. Even had it against Brundage, but that did not come through. Yeah, Alhassan KO1 like plus 375, something like that. Oh, they're onto it. He's done it. He's done it so many times. Brundage didn't want it. He didn't want it. Yeah, that one still hurts. That one still hurts till this day. Awesome. Alhassan at DK punt plays for sure. Yeah, 6,900. I don't mind that. I've seen Razak do some judo once. No, actually, yeah, this judo's good. Judo's good. The problem with Alhassan has always been like the cardio, I think. Anytime the fights went past 6 minutes, he's lost that fight. So we'll see. We shall see. All right, moving on to the next fight is the co-main event. Carlston Harris going against Santiago Ponzinibbio. And this was my first bet of the week. We talked about it on Stat Diggers. I'm on the under 2.5 rounds, 1 unit at plus 110. And it seems like everybody else is on it as well, which kind of scares me. The line's been obliterated. But yeah, this is where I like betting an under. So take a look at their finish rates here. Carlston Harris, 58% finish rate. He has power. Carlston Harris absolutely has power. A couple of these submission wins he's getting, they're clubbing subs. They're hurting his opponent and then wrapping up the neck. And then he has that very good submission game as well, that front choke series. So yeah, Carlston Harris, he has power. He has a submission game. Carlston Harris, I think he's very chinny. I think he's a very chinny fighter, especially at 37 years old. I think the chin of Carlston Harris really was never great, but especially at this day and age, especially after getting knocked out in his last fight, the chin of Carlston Harris is a major concern. So yeah, there's violence on the Harris side. As far as Ponzinibbio's finished 55% of his wins by knockout, 76% finish rate overall. So yeah, Ponzinibbio can absolutely get a knockout. Ponzinibbio can absolutely touch the chin of Carlston Harris. And then you look at Ponzi's been knocked out 4 times. Ponzi at one point used to be next level durable. But as the years have went on, he's battled some injuries, had some big layoffs. Nowadays, I don't think his chin's that great. We saw him get knocked out by Kevin Holland. We saw him get dropped by by Alex Morono. That was not the best look at all. We saw him get knocked out by the Leech. So, yeah, I think Ponzinibbio, his chin's kind of dust too. He's 38, 39 years old at this point. And we could see Carlston Harris even knock him out. So I like the under here. I think there's ways for this under to hit. The line's moved a ton. But, yeah, I think violence here is really the only way I'd attack it, to be honest. I don't trust either of these guys at all. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a fun fight, but I don't trust either of these guys whatsoever. I don't trust the durability of either guy. But what I do trust is I think both these guys, they're dangerous, and both these guys just lack durability at this point. So give me the under. And yeah, on DraftKings, I like this fight as well. I think somebody's probably getting served, and we're getting solid price tags. 8,200 for Harris, 8,000 for Ponzi. Thinking somebody potentially gets knocked out, or Harris could maybe even get like a club and sub like he's done in the past. So yeah, liking some violence here in the co-main event. All right. Before we move on, guys, if you have not already, be sure to like the video. Let's get those likes up. Do appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday. What time do these fights start tomorrow? So the fights are kicking off at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So probably going to go live like at 2 Eastern time for Best Bet. And excited about Best Bet this year. We have a kind of a new crew, some old guys, some new guys. I made a tweet, put out a tweet saying, if you guys are interested in being on the Best Bet show, hit me up, like a first come first serve type basis type thing, and found 10 guys. I think we have four new guys, 4 or 5 new guys. So should be a fun show and a fun show tomorrow. So be sure to tune into that, and then the betting breakdown video will be out sometime tonight. All right, so yeah, main event here. Amanda Ribas going against Mackenzie Dern. We got Ribas minus 190, Dern plus 165, and it sucks. It's like, I know it's the main event, and the main event, like it's the main event. You should be excited about it. It's awesome. I mean, I could just care less. Hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I could just care less about this one, especially from like a betting perspective. So I'm not touching this fight. I am picking Amanda Ribas. With that said, though, these two fought like 5-6 years ago. So much has changed since then. I think Dern's made so many improvements. Dern's striking, it's still not good at all, but it's a lot better than what it once was. Dern's wrestling is still just awful, but it's a lot better than it once was. And of course, she's always had that jiu-jitsu. So I think Dern's made massive improvements. Will it be enough here? We're going to have to see. But at the end of the day, Ribas, I still think she's the better striker. She still has very good takedown defense, and she can even get takedowns in her own right because Dern does not mind being off her back. So I'm kind of thinking Ribas by decision. I just don't have interest in laying the minus 190, and I don't have interest in a prop. I think the fight goes the distance, but yeah, Ribas, I think she's very chinny, and Dern, she's been knocked out before as well. She's tough, but she's been knocked out before as well. So yeah, love this fight for DraftKings though. For DraftKings, it's another story. For DraftKings, I think it's a very important fight because I think the winner, 5 rounds to work with, solid volume between the two on the feet, grappling upside between the two as well. I think from a DraftKings perspective, that's kind of where I want my exposure there. So, but from a betting perspective, there's nothing sticking out. Can't lay minus 190 on Ribas. Rodriguez is the best dog I've seen in 100 cards. 7,300 is a slam. That's a bold call there. For me personally, it's like I think Rodriguez might be able to win, but what does a Rodriguez win look like? Is he taking down Bashi? No. He's probably going to get controlled a lot. Like, what did Rodriguez score against Bulgarian? He scored 65. So it's like, could he win? Yeah, but from a DraftKings perspective, I'm not so sure. Against Raul Rosas Jr., he scored 70. Hasn't. What else? He scored 90 against Simon. But yeah, he is. Do you make a lineup with both girls in the main event in cash games? I don't hate it, but for cash, there's actually quite a few underdogs I like, and they're cheap. So I didn't go that route, but yeah, that's solid. It's safe. Ribas, don't overthink it. I didn't overthink it. It's Ribas as far as a pick, but what I won't be doing is just betting on this fight. All right, so going to do a quick recap. Like you know what I'm thinking for this week. Aliev Selecki. I think Selecki submission at plus 1600. Like that's literally his money line. It's one of those spots where does it hit? Maybe not, but if you're getting like 2 or 3 submission attempts at plus 1600, like there's going to be opportunities is what I'm saying. Fatima Klein, Victoria Dudakova, not much here. Klein's minus 1,000. Maybe you look at the round 3 for Klein, maybe, but probably going to stay away. Gadzhiyasulov Lopez, I'm not even thinking about touching that fight. I mean, that's the worst fight on the card in my opinion, but I think it goes to decision. I think Caliari is a live dog. If I do bet it, it's going to be small because of the question marks, because of the unknowns. But at the end of the day, I don't get how Ernesta's minus 260 with no takedown defense and no striking defense and potential improvements out of Caliari. Smith Parsons, no interest, but Smith should crush this guy, whether it's a brutal, dominant decision where the fight somehow goes 15, Herzog doesn't stop the fight, and Parsons needs help out of the cage, or Smith gets a knockout. But yeah, not much sticking out there. Moises Ogden, I think Moises subs super live, and it's plus 575. Violence, love the fight, doesn't go at a pick on Medic Soriano pass. I think Soriano is a live dog in a sense, but he's got to come in there with the right game plan. And even if he does, my concern is we might be overrating the Baeza fight a bit. Bashi Rodriguez, Bashi should win, but Rodriguez has been the prospect killer. Kopilov Curtis, 15-minute striking fight, lean Kopilov. Almeida Alhassan, I think there's a ton of ways this fight could play out, but I sprinkled that Alhassan decision at plus 1,000. I don't think any decision prop should be plus 1,000. We've seen much crazier things happen. Harris Ponzinibbio, my first bet of the week, I had the under, and then Ribas Dern could care less from a betting perspective. From a DraftKings perspective, I like it a lot. All right, so that is about it. That's all I got for you guys here. We got Artem. Good to see you, Artem. Let's go, Brady. Time to dominate. Let's get it. Rodriguez just hoping the prospect death gases, then takes over. Also, decision should have been to Bulgarian. Yeah, I did score it for Bulgarian myself. And then, yeah, Bulgarian gassed, and so did Rob Rose. I don't think Bashi's gassing. If I thought Bashi would gas, I would absolutely I would already have bet Christian Rodriguez, but I don't think he will. All right, best of luck, everybody, for UFC Vegas 101. Enjoy the fights. We have a fun card coming up this Saturday. We have a fun card coming up next week, pay-per-view card. And so, yeah, be on the lookout for all the other content. Like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.